Hey guys, so here's the notes for 5.5. We're going to talk about adding and subtracting rationals. Now, anytime we need to add or subtract fractions, you always have to have what is called a common denominator. Okay, so for example, let's say we had this fraction. If we look, right, do these two fractions have what we call a common denominator? Meaning, do they have the same expression or value in the denominator? Yes. So when that happens, what we can do is we add the numerator, which in this case would be 1 plus 3, and whatever is the denominator, we keep the same. And then don't forget, we always need to simplify. This will give us 1/2, okay? Now, we will do some of those here, but what happens if we had maybe something that did not have a common denominator? Maybe like 1/8 plus 1/6, right? Do these two values have a common, or are those common denominators? No, okay? So what we have to do is we need to figure out, well, what do these numbers, 8 and 6, what can they go into? And we want to think about the smallest value. Well, the smallest value that they can go into is, well, I think it's going to be 24, right? Okay, well, 8 times what gives us 24? Well, that's going to be 3. So we need to multiply the top and bottom by 3. So I have 3 over 24. Now, what about for 6? Well, that's going to be 4, okay? So then I have 4 over 24. Now that we have a common denominator, we can now add the numerators. So 4 plus 3 gives us 7, and we keep the denominator the same. And here we cannot simplify anymore, so that would be our final answer. Okay? So just like we added with these fractions or these examples, we're going to do the same thing with our rationals. So let's look here. Our first example, we have 7 over 4x plus 3 over 4x. Now first, always ask yourself, do they have a common denominator? In this case, yes, they do. So all we have to do is actually combine the numerators, which is going to be 7 plus 3, and that's going to give us 10, and then we have it over 4x. Now don't forget, always simplify. So we think about it, the x we can't really simplify, but the fraction of 10/4 we can. The number that can go into both 10 and 4 is 2. So that means I have 5 over 2x, and this will be my final answer. Okay, let's look at number 2. We have 2x over x plus 6 minus 5 over x plus 6. Well, if we look here, do these two have a common denominator? Yes, they do. They both have x plus 6 in their denominators. So all we have to do is combine what's in the numerator. We have 2x and that negative 5. Now know that 2x and negative 5, they are not like terms, so we can't really combine them to make them like negative 3x or something like that. So we will leave it as 2x minus 5, and then we have x plus 6. Now later, we're going to be talking a lot more about can we factor. So looking at 2x minus 5, could I factor that expression? No, they don't have anything in common that it can take out, and it's linear. And same thing on the x plus 6. Well, we can't really take anything out there as well. Now we have to think, can we simplify any more? In this case, no. Now remember, though we see a 2x in the numerator and an x in the denominator, remember, we can't just cancel that, okay? Because the 2x minus 5 is together, so it has to be canceled out altogether. And the only other way is if we had a single or a monomial, so a single term in the denominator, then we might have been able to simplify a little bit more. But otherwise, this would be our final answer. Okay, make sure you watch the next video. That is where we're going to be talking about how do we add and subtract rationals when the common denominator, or when the denominator is not the same.